I've been really excited to get you on.
Thank you.
Now, we met at Boomerang.
Yeah.
And we started working together, and I've been kind of pecking your head for like months and months and months now to come on.
I know.
But for anyone in my audience who might not be aware of who you are and what you do, who are you and what do you do?
Okay. Well, I'm Helen. I am a director of a few property businesses, but primarily BlueRow Homes and Michael Moon, which are estate and letting agents, do property management, in the main residential, occasionally a little bit of commercial, but predominantly residential, dealing with people and property.
I love it. I love it. And has property been like a lifelong passion for you?
Yeah, it was actually. As soon as I finished at university, I went into it. I think I hadn't realised I wanted to do it until I finished. And my family had realised I'd wanted to do it, but never told me because I wouldn't have done it. I was quite stubborn as a young girl. So, yeah, I think it was always there. It took me a while to realise. And then I've never looked back. I've loved it ever since. So not one day is the same.
Really?
Yeah, not one day. Some days you wish you didn't have them days. But in the main, they're really, really great.
People talk all the time, don't they, about like following the passion and following the purpose and finding it and all that. And you think it's going to be this like this holy grail that they find.
Yeah.
And it's like every day is like this, you know, being at Disneyland.
Yeah.
But actually in the main, it's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
But it's that one little thing can happen each day. And it could just be a small thing and you think, this is why I'm in it. This is why I stay in it. It's the hard days and the long, and it's a slog. And especially nowadays, the compliance that we have to go through is tremendous and it's laborious. And it's really stressful. But it's those little things when you hand over the keys, you know, it's that one person who's been waiting for the first home, or they're moving in with the partner, and those sorts of things. It's just, they keep you going.
Myself, like when we had a baby, like our house was fine.
Yeah.
And we had, well, our firstborn's the dog, obviously. Our firstborn's the dog. And then we had Harry, who's coming up to 5 now in January. And then Charles, who's 1. Charlie is 1. And you realise, you start to obviously realise kids get bigger and they take up more space and things aren't as, you know, luxurious in your house anymore. There's nothing to wear, you got loads of stuff. And all of a sudden you start thinking about moving home because things are getting tough. Right? And I suppose it must be a great feeling when you got someone like, say for example me, who's starting to think about it now, starting to think about moving house. And then finally you get your forever home. Yeah. We're in our first home, right?
Oh.
I'm 39, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like young to get a home. So to get in our forever home where we're going to like live pretty much forever, the kids will grow up in, all that stuff, it must be a nice feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky I've been in that myself, and I've got my forever home that, you know, our next stage will be downsizing when we're older, or, you know, that sort of thing. But that feeling is, whenever you can bottle it, you'd make a fortune.
There's this thing, isn't it, like about I don't know if it's to call it a stigma or not, but there's definitely this thing of like keeping up with the Joneses. And I don't know whether this comes up in the property world, but it's like it's almost like seen as like, if you want to save some money, you downgrade your car, or you downgrade your house, or you move to a smaller place and have a bit more sort of finances to like do stuff that you might want to do in your life. And it's almost seen as like a bit of a taboo thing to like, oh, you were driving a Ferrari, now you're driving a Toyota sort of thing, or you lived in this like 5-bed house and now you live in a 2-bed house. Like, what's going on there? And it's definitely like this thing about like moving out, but my mum and dad done it. Right. My mum and dad we lived in a 5-bedroom house growing up. Very lucky. You know, I've got great parents and all that. But they've downsized now. Yeah, they're nearly 70, late 60s, and they've downsized now. So it's I don't know if it's like a young thing.
Yeah, I mean, people like have aspirations to get a big house and things like that simply because you can't downsize unless you've upsized. And, you know, and it is a bit of a pension plan for some people. Yeah, for sure. I do think there are keeping up with the Joneses, you're right, but that tends to be maybe insecurities within the people themselves, because ultimately a lot of people's desire is financial freedom. And if that means you driving around in a metro, so be it. You've just got to be confident in yourself and realise you've got financial freedom, and that's the dream for most people.
I think I've realised that over the years.
Yeah.
I've realised that over the years. Like, I mean, I learned in fitness early. Like, so before content, I'd done fitness, and I basically, I left school, became an architect. I was training an architect for like 6 years, and in the 2008 recession, got made redundant, couldn't find a job, and luckily I was there over 5 years, so I got a bit of a payout. And at the time, it was like £3,500, balling out of control, and £3,500 at 21. I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Like £3,500. Living at my mum and dad's house and all that. And my back was kind of against the wall a little bit. So I didn't want to go back to construction, didn't want to be in an office. And I was basically in that period of like looking for a job. I just joined the gym. And that's how I got into fitness. And then when I came to do content stuff, it was almost like I'm at a crossroads now. COVID happened, got made redundant again. Want to start doing, I was already doing it, to be fair, but as a bit of a side thing, but I wanted to do it full time. Back was against the wall, So when you got into property, was it like that? Would you say it was like subconscious all along that you knew you were going to get into property? Or was it like over years you just kind of went, that didn't work, and then got into property?
No, not at all. I mean, my upbringing was very much at the age of 12, your pocket money stopped and you had to work. Weekends, my parents were self-made, and we were, as a child, it was difficult because mum and dad would say no when they could have said yes. Yeah. As an adult, I really appreciate that, because if we wanted the new trainers, they'd say, well, we'll pay half. What are you going to do to get the other half? We were all brought up very much, you're going to work for yourselves. You're going to, if you want it, you've got to go and get it. It's not given to you on a plate.
I love that.
And we had fantastic beliefs and morals and work ethic, all of us. So 12 years of age, pocket money stopped. It was only 20p, I wasn't bothered anyway. To work Saturday mornings filing, and it started off that way. And then we went to bagging sand and cement in the family builders merchants. Wow. And great times. Then we went to cutting wood, and then carrying the bags of cement. People used to come in and see like a 4-foot midget carrying cement into the cars, Loved it. I had a great, but it taught me a lot about banter and I know that everyone throws that word around now, but you've got to have a good sense of humour, good work ethic. They were really like great lessons that started. So at this point, still not in property, but very much around builders, around construction, without realising. I don't think I was ever going to be. I was never a girly girl. I was pretty much like a tomboy. I think I still am now, but I was always. I get that vibe from you. Really? Oh no, well, I was like
awesome.
Climbing trees, you name it. Never fearful of anything. So no, I didn't have the realisation that it was property driven, but unbeknownst to me, I was around it all the time. Like my parents would say, they've got building merchants, civils, and the construction and development companies. It was always around me, just didn't realise it was in me.
I love it.
So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. The reason why I asked that is because I'm always fascinated by like people who do the kind of work we do, and from any industry really. When you're self-employed and you're trying to be self-made, and I love that what you said about like nothing was given to you, even though it could have been. I love that because it's so, and you see it all the time, like people just get spoon-fed stuff. And as I said, I'm very lucky. Like my dad was a painter and decorator for years, worked for himself for years. At one point, I think he had like 12 lads working for him. So stuff like that, like subconsciously, it always sinks in. So I'm always fascinated by that. Now, as time went on, how's property kind of evolved? Because I started, well, not technically in property, but I worked for a housing company and being an architect. So how has it evolved over the last, say, 15, 20 years since you got into it?
The actual property itself hasn't. I mean, yes, we're using some new materials. Obviously, the obvious physical changes are properties are getting smaller and more expensive, but that's just economy.
I think it's that thing, just to build on that a little bit, of like, and we're going to talk about this, like renters' rights and all that.
Yeah.
when you're like property, definitely when I was coming through, it was always seen as like, you know, if you can get into property, that's amazing. Make a lot of money in property.
Yeah.
If you want to be a landlord and you got all these properties and that was like a real sort of prosperous thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like it's getting harder and harder for landlords. So how have you seen that evolve over time?
Yeah, I've seen, obviously the quick book doesn't exist. You know, if you're in property, it's a long person's game now. It's not quick, I'm going to flip a property, because it's harder to get the cheaper properties, and the materials have obviously increased the cost. So the profit margins aren't there really for that at the moment. Lots of landlords are jumping ship. There's no doubt about it. I think the ones that are staying in it can see the bigger picture, because naturally, basic economics, supply shrinks, demand's not decreasing. If anything, it's increasing, and therefore rents are going to go up. I think the compliance does put a lot of landlords off, you know, because they think all this work, all this outlay, and the profit margins aren't there.
Is it just too much rigmarole for them?
It is. It's stressful. You know, I mean, from an agent's perspective, you know, there's a lot of box ticking that you have to do, and the landlords have to pay for a lot of stuff, and, you know, landlord licenses, EICRs, gas safeties, the right dates on the smoke alarms, you know, there's a lot they've got to pay for, to know that the tenants are in there in a happy, safe environment. You know, they can sleep at night knowing that they've done these boxes, but they've got to do them. So it does hit hard, and you think sometimes, what am I doing it for? I mean, the UK has been very much, from when I was younger, bringing up that you made it if you had you bought your own home. But that mentality has changed a lot. Certainly in the last 10 years, it's not everyone's desire to buy a house anymore. They want to rent because they can be fluid, they can be transient, they can be digital nomads, want to move around but still have a roof over their head, you know. So that has become more of a change of mentality for the youth now. They don't necessarily have this desire to buy their own property. They want to be tenants living in, you know, a nice penthouse apartment.
I think the landlords who see the bigger picture of it, the long-term vision of it, see that and go, actually more people are renting.
They are.
More people are going to, in the future, not want to, the mortgage isn't as desirable anymore. Yeah.
Well, I mean, UK, Northwest at the moment, we're the 4th highest region in the UK for renters.
Wow.
So the people are there, the demand is there, the supply is shrinking. So if you're in it, you know, longer term, you should do all right.
What is, like, again, before we talk about the actual bill, how do, as an estate agent and someone who's in property, how do you see the pros and cons of having a mortgage versus renting at the moment?
I'm quite old school. I always think, do what you can afford. If you can't afford it, do without it. Don't be one of these driving a Ferrari because you're keeping up with the Joneses. You know, if you can't afford it, you simply do without it. And from a mortgage buy-to-let perspective, the beauty of being a landlord when you've got that, if you normally need 75% mortgage loan to value and 25% deposit. That's basically where you're at. Me, myself, as a landlord myself, I like to keep more equity in that. So I don't like to have the 25% equity. I like to have 35% because it gives you a bit of a leeway as and when markets change and things like that. Sure. And it's just a bit of comfort, really. Yeah. But the idea is, longer term, in theory, your tenant's paying your mortgage. You know, so if you've got your mortgage paid off, you've put in 35% and the tenants are paid the other. So longer term, I think it's great for me and my clients. We've got a similar sort of mentality, really.
I love it. I love it. So, the Renters' Rights Bill. Talk to me.
It's been a stressful time because it was still and ahhing what was coming. There was lots of rumours, and until it was actually passed, it was still the unknown, really. It's calmer now. Okay. We know what's happening. We know when the first part 1 is coming in, which is the 1st of May. And it's just going to be a new way of working. As long as you are compliant, you've got nothing to worry about. Landlords, these quick ones where you think, I'm going to rent for 6 months and then, you know, I'll come back to my property. That will still be possible because there will be still reasons that you can get your property back. Because that was the biggest fear of people going, well, you know, the tenants in it, they're in it for life. They are in some ways, but if you wanted to move in yourself or have a close family member move in, that can happen. If you want to sell the property, you can.
So for the layperson like me,
Yeah.
how would you describe it as just like a bill? Like what actually is it?
It's rules and regulations of what you've got to adhere to and ensure that you've got in place. You can't evict your tenant. We used to have a thing, well, currently we've got it until the 1st of May, a procedure called Section 21, which allows you to give 2 months' notice to your tenant to say you would like to have your property back from a certain date. It's intent to have it back. That no faults, that means they haven't done anything wrong, just the landlord wants the property back. That has been removed. So you can't just say 2 months' notice, I want my property back. But you can get your property back if a tenant is at fault. So if they aren't paying the rent on time, if they're continuously late, antisocial behaviour, there's lots of different reasons that a tenant can fault. And, you know, your tenancy agreement is basically a contract for both parties that are committed to, and they've got, you know, obliged to complete.
So as an example, when I actually rented a house before, when I was single, and in theory, I didn't do anything wrong in the house, but in theory, they could have just messaged me and said, 2 months' time, we want the property back. Now, if I don't do anything wrong, I can technically stay. You
can, but there still are reasons. You haven't done anything wrong. The landlord's coming back to the country and wants to move back into their property. You haven't done anything wrong, but that's still a 4-month notice period, and they can come back in as long as you've been in for 8 months. You could have a close family member move in. You couldn't have like your third cousin down the road, you know, but you could have your sister, your brother, you know, move into the property. That's still a valid reason. You could choose to sell the property. That's fine. You can go on the market, but you have to give them 4 months' notice. They have to be in for 8 months. And then you have to have it on the market if it hasn't completed for 12 months before you can put it back on the lettings market. Now, obviously, some properties with the sales market, they can fall through. So you could be 7 months down the line and the property's fallen through. You can't put it back on the lettings market until the 12 months has passed. So people who are deciding to do this, it's to stop those landlords that might think, well, you know what, I'll give notice, put it on the market for a couple of months and then whack it the rent up and get it back out there. It's to stop that, really. You know, it's there to protect good tenants. It's what, if you're a landlord in it for property, that's all you want is a good tenant who pays on time, looks after the property. So hopefully, because of the fault eviction, it will enable tenants to toe the line as well, you know.
Where my brain is going with it, if I was, because now I'm doing, obviously the business is going a bit better and I want to diversify my sort of portfolio a little bit, might end up getting into some property. If I was the landlord, technically, based on the numbers that you just said, 35%, 25%, all that, in theory, in my head, I'd be quite happy for someone just to stay there and pay every month and keep the place clean and tidy and keep the property for a long period. That sounds like a dream, right?
Yeah.
But technically, there's some regulations now that would make it a little bit tougher to do that.
Yeah, it does make it a little bit tougher. And obviously, we've got a thing coming in called Awaab's law, which is, it was very sad, a young boy.
I'm genuinely curious.
Well, there was a young boy in Rochdale who passed away, and this law has come in because of that tragic event. And the family were living in a property that was a housing association property, terrible, damp. He'd reported he had reported it, but it had gone to the wayside. Whether he didn't realise that the Ombudsman's there, if certain complaints aren't dealt with in it, you know, we have that there, a redress scheme, which all landlords, private or social, have to adhere to. But whether that was a breakdown in language barrier, I don't know. But the poor chap, parents didn't know about that. And this complaint was just missed. And the damp in the property was horrific. Poor young boy, respiratory issues, and died. So what that's done now is bringing in this law called Awaab's law, which is coming to the social sector and it's coming into the private. So not only have we got to contend with those renters' rights, it's now we've got the Awaab's to deal with, and that's going to be, we're going to have a certain time scale if issues are reported and they are one of the 29 hazards under Awaab's law, you have to respond within the specific time. And it's not just going to be Monday to Friday, it's going to be 7 days a week. I think you can have 48 hours to respond and report back to the tenant on what the process will be. That's not necessarily to correct the issue within 48 hours, but it's going to be inspecting, reporting with a plan.
Love it.
That's to stop these issues where the terrible tragedies happen, where, you know,
sure.
issues. And then if a landlord didn't respond in the correct time with the inspection, it doesn't have to be in person, it could be remote, with a report back to the tenant, they can go direct to the Ombudsman. And that will be a claim. Yeah.
That's unreal.
Mm.
One thing that also popped into my head when, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but with the Grenfell stuff, with the clad,
BSA.
was it BSA and cladding?
Yeah.
Is the regulations around that now as well?
Yeah, it's called Building Safety Act.
Okay.
So it was originally anything over 18 metres, now it's anything over 11. They have to do compartmentalisation inspections, EWS1, which stands for external wall surveys. They have to do these checks and ensure that they are protected, really. You've got the right materials in. And if a fire was to take place in an apartment block, it's the containment. That's the big question, you know, that it's going to be contained within that area until the fire brigade can get there and things like that. So it's, Building Safety Act has been a massive issue with regards to selling as well, because lots of property owners, they've been at a standstill until they've got this EWS1 in place. It's unmortgageable. The mortgage lender's saying, no, it's valued at zero until we know what we're dealing with. So a lot of properties come to the lettings market as accidental landlords in those situations, which going forward, once the Renters' Right comes in, those flexible landlords, unless they're going to be in for a long game, it's going to be very difficult, you know, unless they want to move back into it themselves, you know.
Talk to me a little bit about that, actually. People do become accidental landlords.
Yeah.
What are some of the sort of hurdles they might have to overcome?
Not realising that you can't just go, oh, here's the keys, in you go. You've got to make sure that the property is safe, compliant, and you've got all your licenses in. So there can be an outlay, because just doing a certificate can sometimes open a can of worms. You go, well, actually, in order to get the certificate, we have to rewire the whole place. You have to put a new consumer board in. You know, there are outlays, and people just think you give the keys to tenants and great, and in a few months you'll ask for the keys back and it'll be given to you. It doesn't work like that. You know, it doesn't.
This is really interesting to me, because these are filling a lot of knowledge gaps, which I just didn't know. But like, it's interesting for me as someone who's probably going to look to move house next year. It's one of our goals next year, and also someone who is going to diversify their business portfolio as well. I mean, I was looking at the budget last week. There's a lot said about that.
Yeah.
One thing that I've sort of constantly thought about this budget is, and I don't want to get political with this because I don't like talking politics and stuff. If you're someone like, it's all right. I'll cut that.
Swallowed the wrong way.
I'll cut that bit off.
Sorry, give me one tick.
So, if you're someone who,
oh, thank you.
If you're someone who, like us, who got a bit of ambition, got a bit of get up and go, but you might be, let's say you're 22, and you've got some big ambitions.
Yeah. To be 22 again, I'd do it very
different.
different.
I can't even remember being 22. Isn't it weird when you look at people who are like 40 and you go, and you're young and you look at people who are 40, God, they're really old.
I know,
it's mad, isn't it? And me and you have like a similar generation where things are the same. And it's mad. Anyway, if you're like, say, 22 and you've got a bit of a get up and go and you've got a bit of ambition, you want to start something, maybe get into property or start a business, whatever, they're just making it really, really, really hard to do it. I mean, I've built this business to, like, our goal is to be the biggest social media company in the country. I'd make no bones about that. I want to be really successful. And I kind of got past the point of being like a lifestyle business, but with that came a load of fees, paying more. Building a team is very tricky. I need like a potential. That one's going to cost us any second. I need like a potential video editor.
Yeah.
I need content creators, I need business developments, I need investment, all this kind of stuff. Like I could just keep getting bills,
Yeah.
fees and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always think the question I keep coming back to is like, what incentive is there to actually do it in this country,
Yeah.
like at the moment?
Yeah.
And with this budget coming out, it's even less incentivizing for someone like me or someone even younger to go out and do it. Like, what incentivization is there? Is it the same in property? Is there a little bit of like trepidation to actually just, or more trepidation to just get involved in that industry now?
I think the budget overall is making people a bit more cautious about the extra cash they might have. You know, what they're going to do, what they're going to save it. You know, people who've got business like ourselves, it's, you know, the national insurance, all those sorts of things are difficult. But I do understand as a country, we've got a deficit. It needs to be paid back as much as we all would like not to. It's got to be, you know, we've got to pay it. So the sooner we get it done, hopefully the easier roads will be later on.
Just grind it out now.
Well, yeah, assuming that we're not all poor by the end of it, and then we're all on benefit street, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully that the country will start realising that it's not a punishment to be an employer, you know, because it does feel that you're getting battered on a personal state. You're getting battered from left, right, and centre, you know, and it is bill after bill after bill, and you think you have to make tough decisions at the moment. A lot of
100%.
businesses.
I think it's more like, you know, if you know, I get up every day, try my best every day, and I always say to people at the moment, because I've got young kids and I run a business, every second of every day is taken. Literally, I get woken up, and then I get woken up in the night, until the second goes with the night. Every second is taken. And what people don't see is like the sleepless nights that come with it, and the long days, and the hard decisions, and the people who work for you, you get paid last because everyone else going to get paid, and the fees that you pay, and I just don't want to get punished for that.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit like that at the moment to me.
Yeah.
But more and more fees. So it's like you're doing all right now, so you got to pay more.
I know.
And I don't mind paying.
No.
You know what I mean?
If you're earning it, pay it. I'm the same.
I don't mind paying it. You know, everyone's a socialist and socialists to start making money. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's interesting for me to learn stuff like that about the property world, because I don't know, and I want to get involved in it at some point. And as I say, like we plan on making this bigger and more successful, and being the best social media company out there, and looking after people. And that's all what we're about. Like, one of our real core values is going the extra mile. So go the extra mile, build relationships that are long lasting, and hopefully that'll just transcend all that. Anyway, we're going a bit off tangents. Helen, I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, go on.
We're about to go into, we're filming this on the 5th of December.
Right.
This will be out in the next week or two.
Okay.
Going into 2026, what are your big predictions for the properties, for the landscape of property?
I think it's going to be a tough year. I think there's been a lot of trepidation, like, because people have got a little bit of job insecurity, so might not necessarily want to outlay for upsizing or new properties or extra properties. I think there will be a little bit of caution, and when people are cautious, they stand still. So I do think that it's going to be a tough year. I think there will, with job losses as well, people lose their homes, and then they'll need rental accommodation. You know, there's going to be tough times ahead, next 12 months for sure.
Definitely. And a bit of an off-kilter one. How do you think AI will play a role in the industry?
I think it's making a lot of jobs easier, you know, responding, because I think since COVID, I had the hope of after COVID, everyone appreciate everyone and realise, you know, we're all still here, the ones that we've been lucky enough to be here, you know, we'll all love each other and be kind. But actually, I found it, people have become more short-tempered, less patient, they want things instantly, and sometimes they're less kind, which did disappoint me, because I thought everyone would really appreciate each other. Not to be.
Isn't it funny? Like, sometimes the be kind brigade aren't like the least kind. And the
Well,
ones that are the most tolerant are the least. Actually the
yeah,
least.
yeah. I just feel like if we could all just be that little bit sweeter each day, or just smile at someone, it can make a heck of
See,
a
if you're watching
difference.
this at Christmas time, just be kind.
Yeah, be kind.
It's
Yeah,
important.
yeah, it is. If you can be anything, be kind.
That is actually a great message. I like that.
Yeah, but you
Um,
know, it doesn't.
It's important. It's important because, you know, it's like, I suppose going back to like what I was saying then about, you know, you do have your sleepless nights and you do have
Self-employment
the
then.
long days and the stressful decisions and
Yeah,
people pissing you off half most of the time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know, you freelancer that you've hired in, his son's got sick and he's got to go to the hospital and
Yeah.
can't do the work for you, then
Mm,
your staff might go off sick and you've got to go and do a property, whatever it is.
yeah,
And sometimes you can lose your shit a bit. Like,
yeah,
sometimes you can, and sometimes you get a bit short-tempered, but actually it's important in long term to just, you know, understand that a bit.
yeah. Be kind, but don't be foolish.
Sense, be
Yeah.
kind with boundaries, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
I would say like a thing where it's like, in imagine yourself like a country.
hmm
We talk a lot about, and again, I'm not getting political with this. This is an actual like metaphor. You want it to be a really nice place to be. You want it to be nice to be around, and you want everyone within it to be kind to each other and tolerant. But you want to have strong boundaries.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people infiltrating it,
Yeah.
getting in,
right.
and doing the wrong thing. Now people can come in, make new friends, but at the same time, you want it to be a really lovely place to be,
Right.
but protected,
Yeah.
like a sacred place.
Oh.
That's what I always say. Helen, is there anything else that you want to touch on just before we quickly finish up?
No, I just think the Renters' Right is worrying people.
So if you could send a message out to
Yeah.
anyone who is a bit worried at the moment
Yeah.
about the renters' rights,
Yeah.
what would you say?
If you're worried, speak to a professional. Don't have sleepless nights like us self-employed people, you know. Check your compliance. You've got to the 1st of May. Check your compliance. If you're not happy with something, you can still serve a Section 21 now. You've got a bit of time to get things right. The way to look at it, if you've got your tenants now, you're unsure, the good, bad, or indifferent. If you leave it till after May, they could be in there for a very long time. So deal with any issues you might have now in one way or another. And the Section 21 is in place now. You can use it if necessary. But if you're unsure or you just simply want a compliance check, speak to an agent. We'll check it. We'll check, you know, give you a peace of mind, or hand over to an
I
agent.
can vouch for Helen. I've only ever had good experiences, and I've only ever had good things said by other people about Helen. So
Oh, thank
if you are
you.
listening to this or watching this,
Thank you.
get on it. Helen, thanks so much for coming on.
No,
I
thank you for
really,
having me.
really appreciate it. I've learned a lot there, and I'm sure this won't be the last one, because I'm sure there's other stuff in 2026 that
I'm sure
will
they'll
probably
be coming.
pop up, and I'll probably drag you on to talk about.
Oh.
But if anyone wants to get in touch with you or is needing that help, where's the best place they can find you?
I'm mainly in BlueRow homes in town, which is 0151 709 9638, or I might be in Crosby office, which is Michael Moon, 0151 924 1000, and I'll be happy to help.
Love it, love it,
Yeah.
love it. I will put all the links, website, number, contact details, all around this video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be chopping up all this into social media content, spreading it
Great.
across Michael Moon. We might even do some collab content maybe.
Fab.
And yeah, thanks so much for coming in. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Done.